A planet where every photograph, every transmission is picked apart by scientists and governments. That planet is Mars. For decades, rovers, orbiters, and landers have been sending back images and data, but here's the unsettling part. Some of the strangest, most disturbing things found on Mars seem to vanish almost as quickly as they're discovered. From mysterious structures to unexplained chemical signatures, these discoveries are real. They're documented, and yet they're rarely talked about. One of the most controversial discoveries ever made on Mars is methane. In 2003, scientists using Earth-based telescopes detected massive plumes of methane gas on Mars. Then in 2013, NASA's Curiosity rover confirmed it. Here's why that matters. Methane is unstable on Mars and should be destroyed quickly by sunlight and chemical reactions. If it is there, something must be producing it right now. On Earth, most methane is created by microbes or geological activity. NASA originally downplayed the finding, calling it an impossible contamination, but in 2019, Curiosity detected the largest spike ever recorded, 10 times higher than normal. Instead of celebrating the possibility of life, or at least a groundbreaking discovery though, NASA quietly shifted focus to other data, often releasing statements that the methane might just be seasonal or misunderstood. Yet methane on Mars is still unexplained, and the possibility that it could be biological makes it one of the most disturbing finds quietly pushed aside. In May of 2022, NASA's Curiosity rover photographed a small opening in the side of a rocky ridge. The image looked like a rectangular doorway carved into the hillside. Social media exploded with theories about alien tunnels, secret chambers, or ruins. NASA quickly responded, calling it a natural fracture in the rock caused by stress and erosion. But skeptics pointed out the almost perfect shape of the opening. Dimensions were neat and sharp, unlike the random cracks seen in nearby rocks. NASA never released further close-ups of the so-called doorway. Instead, the story faded from headlines within days. For many, this is another example of something bizarre being quickly brushed aside rather than openly investigated. In 2012, the Curiosity rover spotted something glinting in the Martian dirt. The small metallic-looking fragment stood out against the dull red soil. NASA first speculated that it was just a piece of the rover itself that had fallen off, but then Curiosity found more shiny fragments nearby. After some analysis, NASA claimed they were natural Martian rocks with reflective properties. The issue is that the pieces look distinctly different from the surrounding terrain. To make things even stranger, NASA stopped publicizing photos of the objects, stating they were not of scientific interest. This was suspicious. Why would a potential metallic fragment on Mars not be important? That incident left many wondering what exactly the rover stumbled across that day. Since 2011, orbiters have captured images of strange dark streaks running down Martian slopes. These lines, called recurring slope lineae, appear in warm seasons and fade in colder months. At first, NASA scientists proposed they were caused by briny liquid water flowing on the surface. That would have been groundbreaking because liquid water increases the chance of microbial life. But in 2017, NASA reversed its position, saying the streaks might just be dry dust avalanches. The problem is, the explanation doesn't fully match the data. The streaks behave in a way consistent with liquid movement, and some chemical signatures even hinted at salt water. Instead of aggressively investigating though, NASA pulled back, calling the evidence inconclusive. The idea of flowing Martian water was effectively downplayed. In 2013, one of Curiosity's photographs from the Martian surface went viral. The picture appeared to show a small rodent-shaped figure nestled among the rocks. Its body, head, and even tail seemed distinct. NASA dismissed it as pareidolia, the human tendency to see familiar shapes in random objects. But the Mars rat image sparked debate. Some researchers argued that if there really was small wildlife on Mars, NASA would not admit it without absolute proof. While the official explanation is that it's simply a rock shaped like an animal, NASA didn't provide follow-up analysis on the specific location. Instead, it was quickly buried under new photo releases. The unsettling possibility that Mars may have tiny life forms was left unexplored. In January of 2014, the Opportunity rover took photos of a patch of ground. Days later, the same spot appeared to have a new rock sitting on it that was not there before. NASA scientists nicknamed it Pinnacle Island. The rock looked white on the inside, as if it had been cracked open. NASA explained that the rover likely knocked the rock loose with its wheels, but the location of the rock made that explanation a bit questionable. Some researchers suggested it could have emerged from underground or been deposited by some unknown process. Instead of investigating, though, NASA shifted attention, insisting it was nothing unusual. The mystery of the appearing rock was left unresolved, quietly filed away as rover debris. Physicist John Brandenburg once presented a disturbing theory. Data from Mars orbiters revealed unusually high concentrations of xenon-129 in the atmosphere. Now, on Earth, this isotope is strongly associated with nuclear explosions. Brandenburg argued that Mars may have experienced massive nuclear blasts in its ancient past, possibly wiping out life. NASA and other scientists dismissed his claims, saying the xenon could have natural explanations, but the fact remains that the unusual isotope ratios are real and still unexplained. NASA avoids discussing this in detail, preferring to focus on safer topics like ancient lakes. Whether or not the nuclear theory is correct, the reluctance to fully address the data makes this one of the most disturbing Mars mysteries kept quiet. Images from orbiters have revealed long, tube-like structures on the Martian surface. Some appear as collapsed tunnels or translucent ridges that stretch for miles. Officially, NASA calls them lava tubes, natural formations from ancient volcanic activity, but some of these tubes look unusually smooth and evenly shaped. A few even appear to be partially intact domes. Scientists have noted that lava tubes could be excellent shelters for microbial life, protecting it from radiation. Despite this, though, NASA rarely highlights these structures in public releases. Instead, they are brushed aside as geological oddities, leaving the public largely unaware of how strange and artificial looking some of them appear. Over the years, multiple rover photos have shown objects that look like fossils. Some appear similar to coral, shells, or segmented organisms. NASA consistently labels them as rocks eroded into strange shapes, yet the similarities to biological forms are striking. In 2019, one particular curiosity image caught attention. It looked like a small fossilized sea creature embedded in stone. NASA quickly said it was just a rock that had been shaped by wind. The story ended there without further public analysis. A lot of researchers believe these fossil-like forms deserve serious study, but the official response has been silence. And for now, the possibility that Mars once hosted complex life remains one of the most disturbing discoveries consistently downplayed. In 1976, NASA's Viking 1 orbiter snapped one of the most famous space photos ever taken. At first glance, the image looked like a massive human face staring up from the Martian surface in the Cydonia region. The structure appeared to have eyes, a nose, a mouth. NASA later dismissed it as a trick of shadows and poor image resolution, but here's where it gets a little strange. Later, higher resolution images taken in the 90s and early 2000s did show that the face was a natural mesa. Yet even in these images, the formation retained a strangely symmetrical look, just not common in nature. Some researchers argue that the quick dismissal of the face on Mars was a little too convenient. Instead of openly investigating, NASA shifted attention away, branding it an optical illusion. To this day, the face on Mars remains a symbol of how easily disturbing or inconvenient discoveries can be downplayed. I've been your host, James, and I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.